this is the major topic. So what we are going to learn today, so what is the bronchitis, etiology, classification of bronchitis, clinical manifestation, diagnosis, complication, management, and the homeopathic management. So before going to the definition of bronchiectasis, you are able to understand the lung disease. There are two types of the lung disease. One is obstructive and other is restrictive. In what is obstructive lung disease? So obstructive lung disease is characterized by the reduction of the airflow. So it causes the shortness of the breathing. The air will remain inside the lung after the full expiration. Whereas restrictive disorder, it is characterized by the reduction in the lung volume, so difficulty in taking the air inside the lung. It is occurred due to the stiffness inside the lung tissue to the chest wall cavity. So in obstructive lung disease, we have seen the COPD, asthma, bronchiectasis. Whereas in restrictive disorder, we can see the interstitial lung disease, scoliosis, neuromuscular cause, and the marked obesity. So today we are going to learn about the obstructive lung disease, that is the bronchiectasis. So what is bronchiectasis? So bronchiectasis is a abnormal and permanent dilatation of the bronchi. It's a severe lung disease condition. It may be either focal, which involves the airway supplying a limited region of a pulmonary parenchyma, or diffuse, which involves the airway in a more widespread distribution. The resulting in fibrosis, scarring, loss of elasticity, destruction of cilia, then impair the protection of the pulmonary system from the dust, bacteria, excess mucus, and predispose an individual to the chronic respiratory infection or the destruction. So in last lecture, we have seen about how the loss of elasticity, cilia help in protection of our immune system. So when there is an abnormal and dilatation bronchi occur, there is fibrosis and loss of elasticity, and it also destruct the cilia. So if you see in the image, this is the normal airway. You can see the proper mucus, cilia, wall, and the airway passage. But in bronchiectasis, there is increase in the mucus level. So there is loss of cilia, the damaged wall. So airway passage is narrowed down. So you can see the difference. The airway in normal, and in bronchiectasis, this is, you can see the normal lungs seen like this, and in bronchiectasis there is destruction of all the cilia, elasticity, and the wall. Same, you can see in the broader way, normal airway, the air wall, the muscles. In this, there is a scarred, thickened air wall. There is production of the large amount of the mucus, widened airway, so air passage is narrowed down, so the patient has a difficulty in breathing. He not get the expiration and inspiration properly, so oxygenated and deoxygenated blood he is not able to take up. That's why there occur a dyspnea. So what is the etiology? So etiology is very important in bronchiectasis. First cause is the cystic fibrosis. Second cause is the infection. In infection, the worldwide most common cause is the tuberculosis. The second is severe pneumonia. Severe pneumonia, it may be the viral pneumonia which causes because of the adenovirus or the influenza, or the bacteria pneumonia which is caused by the staphylococcus or the Haemophilus influenza. Bordetella pertussis is the another infection which causes the bronchiectasis. MAC, that is Mycobacterial avium complex, which is classically involved right middle lobe and the left lung. Generally, when the bronchiectasis occur, it occur in the about the inhale foreign particles like smoking. ABPA, that is allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis, or the bronchial tumor, which causes the airway inflammation and which causes the mucus impaction and the bronchiectasis. Focal bronchial obstruction, for example, bronchogenic carcinoma. Bronchogenic carcinoma occlude the lumen, which causes the bronchiectasis. Toxin inhalation like chemical fumes, or the aspiration, like if any person aspirate the gastric content, which may causes in the bronchiectasis. Decreased mucociliary clearance, which alteration of the ciliary motion and alteration of the airway secretion. What is decreased mucociliary clearance? So mucociliary clearance is the protection and the moisture to our airway. So only a very small pathogens are able to gain entry to the alveoli. Mucociliary clearance function is to remove this small portion or the particles and also trap and remove the pathogen from the airway. So in short, it protects the lung parenchyma. When it affected by the bronchiectasis, it decreases the mucociliary clearance, which altered the ciliary motion, and that's why there is destruction of the airway. So it occur in HIV cases, it occur in immunoglobulin deficiency, carcinogens and the cystic fibrosis. What is carcinogens? हम लोग आगे देखेंगे. GERD, that is gastroesophageal reflux diseases, ulcerative colitis, hiatus hernia, which causes the increase in the stomach acid, which aspirate into the lung and causes the tissue damage. Then the autoimmune disease, that is the RA and the IBD. This also causes the bronchiectasis. Okay, so these are the acquired cause. What is the genetic cause? There are certain genetic disorders which causes the bronchiectasis. So first is the Carter-Jenner syndrome. What is that? So it's a syndrome, it's very rare, like in a 1 in a 1000 cases you can see this syndrome. So it is very rare autosomal recessive genetic ciliary disorder which comprise the triad of situs intervals, chronic sinusitis and the bronchiectasis. The basic problem lies in the defective movement of the cilia leading to the recurrent chest infection, ear, nose, throat. Okay. So when the normal organs situated at a proper place, for example, liver or the pancreas, so these are the normal organ which situated normally. When these are the normal situation. We know where is liver, where is pancreas. So their situations are normal, which called as the situs solitus. Okay. When these organs are situated in a reverse order or in an improper shape, it called as the situs interversus. Okay. So these are the very rare congenital conditions. So second is Williams-Campbell syndrome. What is that? So it is the disease of the airway where cartilages in the bronchi is defective. So it is a form of congenital cystic bronchiectasis. This leads to the collapse of the airway and the bronchiectasis. Third is Marfan syndrome. It's a genetic disorder that affects the connective tissue. Those with the condition tends to be tall and thin with a long arm, leg, finger and the toe. They also typically have the over flexible joint and the scoliosis. When the connective tissue affected, it causes all the connective tissue affected in our body. So it causes the thin airway, wall is destructive, cilia is destructive. So there is increased mucus production. So it leads to the bronchiectasis. Alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency. Alpha-1 antitrypsin is it is made in a liver. Okay. So when this deficiency occurs, it's an inherited condition that raises your risk to the lung and the liver disease. It's a protein that protects the lung. Okay. And it made in the liver. Sorry, it prepared in a liver. These are the mainly cause, the acquired cause and the genetic cause. So what is the epidemiology of bronchiectasis? So most common cause of bronchiectasis, as I earlier said, first is the tuberculosis and the second is the cystic fibrosis. So whenever patient come with you as a bronchiectasis or you have a doubt that the patient having a bronchiectasis, so first do the tuberculosis test. So whether patient having a tuberculosis or not, because most of the common cause of bronchiectasis is the tuberculosis. So it's mostly seen in a woman. In a textbook, it is written as it's mostly seen in a woman. But in a last year, in a Lancet journal, it is like they had done the survey in bronchiectasis in India. So they have seen the younger age group are more prone to the bronchiectasis and men are more prone to the bronchiectasis. But in the textbook, you will find that it's more common in a woman. And pertussis vaccine, which reduces the incidence of the bronchiectasis. So there are mainly three types of the bronchiectasis: cylindrical, varicose and the cystic. So you can see in the image why this is named as the cylindrical, varicose or the cystic, because of the shape. shape of the bronchiectasis. In varicose, you can see the varicose type of the bronchiectasis. In cylindrical, you can see the tube-like structure or the cylindrical structure. And in a cystic, which also called as the saccular, you can see the cyst type of the structure. So these names are according to the size and the shape of the bronchiectasis. So cylindrical. So the cylindrical or the tubular bronchiectasis, the lumen dilated is uniform enlargement of the bronchi and the wall is thickening is smooth. So there is failure of normal tapering of the bronchi. In cylindrical and tubular bronchiectasis, the luminal dilatation is uniformly enlargement of the bronchi and the wall which thickening is smooth. So there is failure of normal tapering of the bronchi. So your bronchi is seen as a cylindrical shape. So there is destruction of the cilia, there is narrow air passageway, but your bronchi seen like this, cylindrical or the tubular shape. Where is varicose bronchiectasis? The bronchi resemble like varicose vein. The lumen dilated is characterized by the alternating area of luminal dilatation and the constriction, which creating a beaded shape, and the wall thickening is irregular. So wall thickening in tubular bronchiectasis is smooth, whereas in varicose bronchiectasis it's very irregular. So there is dilatation and constriction of the luminal wall, which created varicose type of the appearance. So that's why it's called as the varicose bronchiectasis. Whereas cystic or the saccular bronchiectasis, it's a more severe form of the bronchiectasis. The bronchi are severely dilated and the bronchi are aimed blindly in a dilated thick wall cyst. So even the wall is destructed, so bronchi are dilated and it causes a shape of the cystic type. So you can see in the image, there are multiple cyst type you can see. So what is the pathology? So first is the causes of the triggering factor, which causes the inflammation of the bronchial wall, which causes the loss or the ineffective pulmonary defenses. What is pulmonary defenses? As I earlier said, the cilia, the parenchyma, these mucociliary clearance, these are the normal our pulmonary defenses, which lost due to the inflammation of the bronchial wall. So there is increased the sputum hypersecretion. Wall are distracted and the increases the sputum hypersecretion, which obstruct the bronchi. So there is the narrow down of the airway passages which obstruct the bronchi. There is destruction of the cartilaginous support structure, which impaired the mucociliary clearance and which causes the bronchial wall become permanently dilated and the distorted. This is a very severe condition. So we can treat at a normal level when the inflammation occur or when the ineffective pulmonary defenses or loss of pulmonary defenses occur. When the sputum level, we can cure that patient. But when there is the obstruction of the bronchi or the impaired of the mucociliary clearance, it causes the permanent dilatation and distortion. So this is the very severe case of the bronchiectasis. Clinical features. There are the symptoms and the sign. So the symptoms is first is the cough. So the type of the cough is productive or the thick, which is tenacious sputum in copious amount. Copious amount means it's a large amount. The patient may say that कि बहुत ज़्यादा cough निकल रहा है. So it described as a tone of sputum. The very characteristic of the bronchiectasis is the foul smelling sputum, which also the dark green color or the yellowish color sputum, with the dyspnea and the weakness and the hemoptysis. You can see in many condition when the patients come to us, the patient has a hemoptysis. Volume of the sputum, which is the indicate the severity of the disease. So for example, mild. So mild when we called as when there is a less than of the 10 ml. So moderate is 10 to 150 ml and severe it's more than the 150 ml. This causes the severity of the disease condition. Sign, nail clubbing and the auscultation, you can see the crackles and the whistling. So nail clubbing, as you see in the image. There are many signs of nail clubbing and the auscultation where you can see the crackles and wheezing sound in a bronchiectasis patient. So how do you diagnose the bronchiectasis? As I earlier said, the causes and the symptoms, clinical manifestation is a very important indication for the bronchiectasis. So the history is important to diagnose the patient. So to rule out the causes, blood test where you can see the ESR increase or the eosinophilin increase, WBCs are decreased, you can see in the blood test. The chest X-rays. Usually chest X-rays are not the diagnostic for the bronchiectasis, it's usually non-specific. But sometimes it shows the infiltration, that is the tram tracking, dilatation of the airway. What is tram tracking? Tram tracking is like अगर हम लोग किस कोई रोड देख रहे हैं तो रोड पे बहुत सारी गाड़ियां एक साथ अगर जमा हो जाती है, सो वी कैन कॉल कि कितना ट्रैफिक है, कितना जाम हो गया है, सो दैट इज द ट्रैम ट्रैकिंग. Can you see in the image? These are the red marks. You can see the tram tracking passages, that white. Did you see?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the tram tracking dilation of the airway. So PFT test, in PFT test there is decreased FEV1 and there is the ratio, low ratio. Whereas CT and the HRCT. HRCT is the high resilient CT scan, which is seen is the crowded bronchial marking extending to the periphery and peribronchial thickening and the signet ring appearance. So you can see in the image, you can see these are the signet ring appearance. There are small rings are present. So that represent the dilatation of the bronchioles. So when the dilatation of the bronchioles occur, there is narrow down of the air passages. So you can see these are the ring type of the appearance in CT and the HRCT, which are diagnosed as a bronchiectasis. Whereas sputum culture to identify any bacteria present or not. Bronchoscopy, there is the obstruction of the foreign body and the tumor, immunoglobulin, and the test for HIV and the AIDS. As earlier I said, when the introductory part of the respiratory system, when our immune system has lowered down, it causes the many type of the disorder. So in HIV, AIDS, our immune system are immunocompromised, it decreased. So it causes the various type of the disorder like bronchitis, bronchiectasis, asthma, or the pneumonia. So whenever patient come to us, so we have to see first if patient is immunocompromised or not. So it's important to do the test for HIV and the AIDS and aspergillus antigen skin pricking test for the ABPN. So what is the treatment? So these are the diagnostic criteria. So first is the history is very much important, then the X-rays, then the pulmonary function test and the CT. So treatment, first of all in the treatment, what is the goal of our treatment? So as I earlier said, it's a severe condition of the pulmonary disease condition. So first important is to eliminate the cause. To eliminate the cause, we should know what is the cause behind the bronchiectasis. So you have to do the different tests, or by the clinical implantation, you can see the cause of the bronchiectasis. So our first goal is to eliminate the cause. Second is improve the tracheobronchial clearance. Third is control the infection, and fourth is reverse the airflow obstruction. Because if the recurrent infection occur, there is already I said there is a destruction of the bronchioles and the bronchioles wall. So recurrent, if the infection occur, patient go into the heart attack or the pulmonary failure. So pharmacological treatment, they give as the immunoglobulin or the anti-tubercular drug, corticosteroid or the bronchodilator or the postural drainage. Mostly postural drainage is very helpful. We educate the patient how to curve and how to change the position to get rid of the pus. And the oxygen therapy, because there is a destruction of the airway passage, so there is narrow down of the airway, so patients having the difficulty in breathing. So patient is not able to take up the oxygen. So oxygen therapy is very helpful. And the chest physiotherapy. Chest physiotherapy is important because there is a large amount of the mucus are obstructed in the bronchioles. So To remove that, the chest physiotherapy is very helpful in bronchiectasis cases. Surgery intervention is needed sometime when there is recurrent infection and when there is, you can see the clinical symptoms recurrently occur because of the infection, and then the focal area involved. So there are mainly 4 surgery they done. First is the pneumonectomy, where the entire lung is removed. The part of the lung where the infection of the lung. For example, left lower lung is infected, so they remove the entire left lung, which is called as the thoracotomy. Second is lobectomy, which remove the one lobe, affected lobe, and when they remove the 2 lobes, which is called as the bilobectomy. Third is the sleeve resection, which is the removal of a lobe of a lung along with a part of the bronchus. So bronchus is affected, so they remove the lobe also and the bronchus also. And the segment resection, which is the removal of the large portion of the lung but not the whole lobe. So they remove the affected lung and the surround portion of the lung but not the whole lobe. So they called as the segment resection. So in our homeopathy, we have a supportive role to play in case of bronchiectasis. So along with the conventional help, what is conventional help? Like oxygen therapy, physiotherapy, these are the conventional help. These remedies help a person manage the symptoms of the bronchiectasis. So there are many remedies for bronchiectasis. For example, antimtar, calibicrome, pulsatilla, silicea, arsenic album, heparsol, etc. So if you see the calibicrome, so for bronchiectasis, calibicrome is useful medicines with a cough and the thick tenacious expectoration. Expectoration is highly viscid, sticky in nature that can be drawn in a long string. The expectoration is copious and can be transparent, white, yellow, green or the slate color. There is a cough with pain and soreness in the chest. Chest also feel heavy as from a weight, heavy load of the chest. So these are the characteristic symptoms of the calibra which we can indicate in the bronchiectasis patient. Whereas in pulsatilla is indicated for the bronchiectasis when there is cough with a yellowish green colored expectoration. The cough worsen in a warm room. Expectoration appear in a large quantity of a yellow-green, thick, lumpy mucus, especially in the morning time. So this is the characteristic in a large quantity of the yellowish green, thick, lumpy mucus, which is also characteristic of the bronchiectasis condition. So it may have a slimy, bitter, sweet, salty taste. The pulsatilla needed when person having a profound weakness and the fever. Any questions?